What's good? What's good? It's your boy Micro. We absolutely had a really good week, actually. We ended up taking SMH calls for NVIDIA ER, and we absolutely banked. They went, I think, 320 to like 1600, something like that. I ended up selling mine at around 356%. Yeah, it was honestly a good week because of that. Friday took a little bit of an L, paper cut, but it's alright. That just comes with the territory, you know what I mean? So right off the bat, we're looking at SMCI. So when we were looking at this last week, we were, down. Oh yeah, we were down here, right? This is exactly where we were at. And although there was a ton of bearish price action that specific day on Friday, where we ended up dropping, a lot since all time highs. We dropped about 300-400 bucks. So yeah, that retracement was well needed. But with that being said, we ended up actually seeing a pump all the way back up to this 1,000 area. That's exactly what I had predicted last week. Just like as a retest type of thing, as for something to happen with such a big name. That's kind of what I expected to see, as people were not just going to start selling the stock back to these levels down here overnight, right? It's just not what was going to happen. Nonetheless, we did end up retesting that 1,000 level, this 1,004.28 level. Now we have a very, very good, I wouldn't necessarily say healthy, but we definitely have a very good range in which we could trade in now, right? So, we closed at just 855. And that 855 level should, if so long as we continue to hold, 855, 836 area, we should continue to see another bounce up, right? Now, if we fall back down through here, then we definitely go back down to this 810 area, this 810 area to that 800 area, 800 area. We end up continuously falling down to 766.58. And 744, 745 area, right? Below that, we may end up getting these lows down here, which was around this 700 area, and this 690 area. If we do end up revisiting the 690 area, and we do end up seeing a break of that, then we definitely will have a lot of downside, in my opinion. Nonetheless, hold this 836. I definitely see us going back to this 878 level. This 878 level back through 900, going to this 915. This 915, believe it or not, I mean, first we would visit this area right here of 923.63. Call it 932.63. Call it 933. And then above that, I mean, another big level would be around this area of 941, 944. Above that, 957, 975, and then possibly that 1,000 retest yet again. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on SMCI throughout the week, is either we come back up and we retest this 957 area, or we may just go back down to make some new lows. Or again, retest this 800. So that's kind of what I'm looking for with SMCI. Next on our list, with crypto going absolutely insane this weekend, and me and my friend, actually he's my mentor at one point, we ended up hitting Ethereum longs for 200+% at 100 times leverage. Absolutely insane weekend when it comes to crypto. Nonetheless, I zoomed out a little bit on coin, as I remember the last time I talked about this idea, I ended up seeing a Head and Shoulders around this area, and then they had earnings, and they had an earnings run up to begin with, and then they absolutely murdered earnings and absolutely ripped. So now, when I look left and I look at the bigger picture, I could see that we are potentially in a cup and handle setup, right? And this cup and handle setup, with crypto having gone crazy this past weekend, we can definitely see a higher move with coin, right? So this 160 area is obviously very pivotal for us, right? I remember us talking about this 160 level when we had rejected it here to come down and make these lows at 115. And the rejection of this specific level is what brought us down here inevitably, right? Now, us rejecting here, if you look to the right, we're actually holding this specific area. With crypto having gone, Bitcoin specifically, obviously it's a market leader. With it having gone crazy this past weekend, we may actually see a relatively healthy move to the upside. Realistically, obviously, I did not get in prior to the weekend, so I'm not swinging anything currently. However, over this 168.12, I do think that we see this 173 level. This 173 level, I strictly have 173.88, call it 174, for a higher move to the upside. That higher move to the upside takes us to that 176.50. That 176.50 more than likely takes us to this 179. Obviously, 180 next as a big psych level. But that 180 breaks, then I do expect to see, something around this 185 level, 184 level. So that's kind of what I see. I'll break above that. Obviously, we continue higher, pushing towards that 190 area. 193 break should take us straight to 200, in my opinion. I mean, we're kind of just, going crazy. However, now we go back to that 160 level, right? This would inevitably be a short trigger for me, so long as we close beneath it and we retest, as we retested here a multitude of times. I'd want to see a retest in order for us to break back down, right? That's like number one for me if I want to go short on this name. Again, with Bitcoin going crazy this weekend, it's probably not the best idea to try to short this beast. But that's kind of what I'm looking for on Coinbase. A bigger, higher time frame cup and handle setup. Sorry, it's not drawn perfectly, but this definitely can lead to a very explosive move this upcoming week. Last week, I had mentioned that this 197.12 level is relatively important in order for us to have continuous upside on IWM. Now, we did break below, but we ended up reclaiming it, retesting it, and pushing straight up off of it. And also, it was a longer term trend test, right? Now we're just in this specific channel, and we're just trading within the specific channel. So from here, I honestly would love to see another break of 200. That break of 200, as we're right here, we should be able to crack it. With this break of this 200, I would love to see this 201.15 area get broken, 201.30 level get broken. Obviously, again, looking left, we could see that this is also a big area for us to end up clearing, right? Like, there's a lot of selling here when we do get here, some bounces. When we do end up coming to this level and we do end up holding, we end up seeing higher. Whenever we decide to come down to it and reject, we end up seeing lower. So this honestly may be a good take profit if we continue to go higher, right? Or a break of it may send us and then we get back in on the retest. So this 197.12 again needs to just continuously hold, just like it does. I mean, this is one of the strongest points of support that we have, and it's been proven to be a big support based off of the price action afterwards. So this 197.12 is extremely important. A break of this 200 should take us to this 201.21 level. 201.21. Let's see, 201.21 to, 202.15, right? Just 202. I know that sounds a little crazy, but we may end up actually getting that move again, breaking back to the upside. Now, here is where we see a lot of problems, is this 205 area. This 205 area decides to reject a lot. So if we do end up breaking 200 and we do decide to push to the upside, then this 205.02 level, again, just call it 205, will inevitably be one of the bigger take profit points, or again, another blow off the top. Kind of all just depends on the market and what it decides to do. But that's basically what I'm looking for on IWM. Same exact game plan, just with some added levels with a break over that 200, as that's a big psych level for investors and traders alike. So, yeah, that's all I'm looking for on IWM. So one of the nicer setups that I see in the market right now is Shopify. Shopify had a blow off top um, run, pre-earnings run. After earnings, however, obviously, as we could see, they ended up taking a relatively big hit. Right now, we've come into this. We've come into this descending triangle, right? And this can have a very, very explosive move if it decides to go. So from here, 75.82, 77.44, 79.06, 81.07. That's really what I'm looking for. A break of this level, as we can see, again, if we just look left, a break of this level ends up sending us higher, and a lot higher at that. We see this 83, 84 area, and this 84, 31 area. A break of this area obviously took us all the way to that 92, 97 area, call it 93. So this would be my max take profit if this does decide to go. So that's honestly all that I'm looking for to the upside. To the downside, the 73.51, again, if we look left, whenever we rejected or came back through this level, we ended up selling off, right? Whenever we came back up, we broke through, had some higher price action when we broke through, etc. So this 73.51 area is going to be a big level for us going into this week, especially if the market does decide to have a good retracement, right? So realistically, I'd want to shoot for the $57 level. And then below that, I would like to see this 69.23 level, 69 area, and then possibly this 68.22. Below that, I would like to see this 66.69 area. That's really what I'd be looking for to the downside. So one of the better setups within the market, and it should be a relatively simple play so long as everything decides to play out in the ways that we expect. So that's all that I'm looking for on Shopify. So next thing we're going to be looking at is some cybersecurity. Snow actually has some earnings this week. So and this is moved beautifully over this 200 level, right? This 237.72 has obviously proven to be a big wall for us. So an earnings run up is obviously indefinitely possible. And we definitely can see a positive earnings, right? Obviously, last earnings, we ended up seeing a very healthy move, right? And this healthy move came from a 57% increase on earnings, and on revenue, a 2% beat on earnings, right? So $20 million beat on earnings. So this ended up taking us from this 174 up to this, up to around this 200 level. So this earnings, especially because we're coming back up to this a specific level rather, that has been difficult for us to break. We can see a blow off the top move yet again, right? So this 250 area would definitely be where I would be aiming for if there is a positive earnings. Obviously, we can always go higher. Higher above that, I'd like to see this 267.50. Honestly, with good earnings and the way the market's been reacting to those good earnings, I would not put it past Snow to reach those specific levels, right? And now if we decide to break down, I would like to see a breakdown between this, or below rather, that 220 level. That 220 level should give us a relatively healthy move to the downside. So this 215 down to this 211.40, 211.40 down to this 207.66, and then possibly below that 200 level, right? That's what I'd be looking for. If we do end up going below that 200 level, honestly, I would like to see maybe possibly 190, or 195. Realistically, that's really what I'd be looking for if we ended up breaking that 200 level. So that's all that I'm really looking for on snow. Again, it's earnings play, and we may absolutely blow off the top and head towards this 267 area.